Okay, so I thought I would do another video just for shits and giggles, because I've been noticing a lot of this going around on the internet, and it revolves around: Are you really open-minded? People say all the time that they're open-minded. Oh no, I'm open-minded. I completely agree. I'm open to new ideas and I explore new possibilities. But are you really open-minded? Like really? So, what exactly does it mean to be open-minded? Every conversation needs a starting point, so let's go with the definition in Webster's dictionary. Open-minded is being receptive to arguments or ideas. It's fairly simple and straightforward. You've got to be receptive to arguments or ideas. So, the secret behind being receptive is not just listening to an idea. You're not just looking for why someone else is wrong, and so you're listening to what they're saying and listening to the statements they're making and looking at their evidence to poke holes in it. If you do that, you are being receptive, but it's really only half of the definition. Uh, the other half as far as being receptive or being open, is the missing ingredient. It's asking yourself what would convince you that you're wrong. If you don't know what would convince you that you're wrong, then you're not really being receptive and you're not really being open minded. You're listening. You might be a great listener, but you're not really open minded because you're not open to the possibility that that person is right. Being open minded is being more than open minded just ideas that you like. It's being open to the ideas that you don't like and that you don't agree with and that are in direct contradiction to ideas that you already have. That's a key part. If you do not ask yourself what would convince you that you're wrong, then you're not open minded, and that's honestly that's a big conversation stopper right then and there. So in order to do this, you've got to set some standards for yourself, and you got to stick to them. Okay, you don't want to compromise on this. In a sense, what I mean is when I say you don't want to compromise on it, you if you want to say, okay, what would convince me that pixies aren't real? Well, uh, some evidence to show that the whole mythology behind pixies was actually created in Ireland by some random dude as a story. If you can show me that, then I will believe that pixies are wrong. When you've made that, you don't then back down on that, saying, "Well, that guy, sure, but there are lots of other people who have seen pixies." No, once you've set a standard, you really do have to stick to it. Now, you can feel free to partially revise because that's what we do as rational human beings. We go, "All right, well, okay, pixies pixies aren't real." However, when I was talking about pixies, I wasn't talking about brownies. So let's say if your original statement was, well, if you can show me um, that fairy creatures aren't real, that they're really just concoctions out of a story, and somebody shows to you, evidence that the brothers Grimm, actually invented the story behind fairies, then you can go, all right, well, okay, then fairies aren't real, but that doesn't mean that brownies, munchkins, leprechauns, Santa Claus, and Jesus are real. Those are real. And never feel free to ignore the evidence. That's one of the things that you can't do. You can't just say, "Oh, well, I don't care what that says." If you say, "Oh, I don't care what that says," you're not being open-minded. You're not being receptive. That's the first part. That's the part that you thought you had right, where you're listening to the argument. Listen to the evidence, evaluate it, but don't ignore the evidence ever. And I thought I would close with the picture of with Megan Fox because she's so incredibly hot. Um, Honestly, it all comes down to this: If you're making a claim, if you're making a statement about something, and you're trying to convince other people that you are receptive and open to their ideas, the best way for you to make that argument is to actually be receptive and open to their ideas. This means thinking ahead about what would convince you that you're wrong. It shouldn't be something that you are ambivalent about, something that you're not really sure about what would convince you you're wrong. Okay? If you think you're right because of this, this, and this, then you should also know why you might be wrong or what would convince you that you are wrong. All right, I glad we had this little talk, guys. Talk with you later.